what we're going to do is we're going to open one of the files we downloaded. We are not going to open it by clicking here, so just leave these files alone. Do not click on them. We're going to open it by going to File, Open File. Okay, if you click on that, then because we created a project and that project is inside this folder, which you can see here, this is the project you just created. It was also automatically saved inside the folder you chose. So because we're inside a project, RStudio opens the right folder for you, from which you now want to open a file. And the file we want to open now is this, Assignment A Students 2021.rmd. That's the file we want to open. So select that one, double click or say open, and then something's going to change again, and as you can see now we have a new panel. Yeah, and if you hover there with your cursor, you can see you can move it so that you can make it bigger. We actually don't need for the moment anything inside this panel. It's nice to see the files, but I don't care what they are right now. So none of these things we need now, so we can minimize this whole panel by clicking on that little minimize button there. So if you click there, that whole panel will be minimized. It's not gone, but it's just minimized here at the bottom, and you have much more space to look at your file now. Okay, so this is the file we opened, and that means we were successful in our first aim, which was to create a project and open a file. Okay, so you can see nothing else really changed. We opened this file, we got a new panel. These panels are still the same, and I'll explain to you what they are just now. So again, I'm going to explain later what environment is. History, connections, tutorial, those things are, we're not going to use them at all. Environment we'll look at once more, but not the whole time, so we'll do the same with this panel. We'll minimize it by clicking there on the minimize button, and then we have much more space here to see this. So these are the two panels that we'll be using, and then sometimes we'll be using the plots panel. If we made a plot, it's going to show up in there, but we'll get to it when we have a plot. Okay, so this panel is called the script window because this is a script. This is a script, a coding script, basically. So a text file that contains some code that we're going to run. And so as soon as we have code to run, of course we're going to have results. And so the results must show up somewhere. And so that's what this panel is for. Here you can see it's called the console. And basically for our purposes, in the console, our results, our code results are going to show up when we run code. At the moment we don't have any code to run. So maybe I'll just show you the first thing here. If I run this code, I'll explain to you later how to run it. Let's run all of them. Then you can see things are happening on this side. It's not very exciting what's happening, but basically the code I run shows up here with a little arrow type thing. So this means I ran this code, then I ran this code. So in orange, this code, this code, this. So everything in orange here is code that I ran. And then this in purple, this whole part in purple is, these are basically just messages that I got. So the code ran, it did something, and this is just a message. Just information that R is giving me for what happened. If I go back here to the script window and just show you some other code, so 1 + 1 can be code that you can run in R. So if I run that line, again you see it shows up here as orange. That's the code I ran, and this time because it's code that actually has a result. 1 plus 1 is 2. The result shows up in white like this. The 1 just means it's the first line of the result. So if the results were to be in more than one line, then it will number it for me like that. So don't get confused with that. The 1 is just the number of lines like this. Like it's numbering the code lines on this side. On this side it's just giving a number for the lines of results. So you'll get used to what that looks like. But the point is that the result is due, as you can see there. Okay, so script window is in this panel, console, or this is where your results, where it's going to show you which code you ran and then what the results are. And that's going to show up on this side. I'm just going to delete this line of code. So it's not something we need. I think that's everything I wanted to show you. For the orientation, we'll now go on to explain some more about how R and RStudio work together in the next video. And also we'll talk about what are objects, what are functions, what is the working directory, what are packages.